Okay, here we have a Baldwin 60,000 pound universal testing machine. As you can see, this is obviously an older machine. It was actually made in 1941, and it still works. And it works very well, actually. It's in, as you can see, the original condition, original paint. It's got, the scratches, the fading, but it's been pretty much looked over. Everything, as far as we can tell, works on it. It has a new ram seal in here, so it doesn't leak any hydraulic fluid. It's actually a V packing ring. There's 5 rings stacked up. That seals very nicely. The crosshead moves up and down very nicely. And you can see you operate this with the push buttons here, which uses the gearhead motor, or you can see that wheel wobbling over there. That's the manual wheel if you want to move it by hand. Obviously, it got dinged. It's not that big a deal. This upper crosshead here, it's got these locking rings, so you can actually use this moving crosshead to pop that free, and you can move it up to a higher position. So you perform your compression tests in this area here, and your tensile tests are performed between here. So doing a tensile test, obviously this gets lifted much higher up those columns. So if you come over to the control console here, pretty much from this table surface down is the hydraulics for the unit that are located inside. There's a load and an unload valve. These, ship control looking knobs here that loads and unloads it, and all of the hydraulics, the hydraulic pump, the tank, the motor, that's all down in the base, and we'll see that when we walk around the back. The upper part is the gauge system. Now we hooked this thing up and we were just assuming that this gauge system was not going to work, and we were just going to try to prove that the hydraulics worked. Well, it barely took any work at all, and this fully mechanical gauge with 4 different ranges works beautifully. It's quite a marvel to see on the backside all the mechanical stuff going on there. It uses the bourdon tubes, 4 different bourdon tubes, and a compensation bellows, and everything about it works. Even down to the fluorescent light from 1941. So we'll just go ahead and kick it on and show you it loading up. We just have a chunk of wood in there, so we'll just be able to fully load it to 60,000. So first thing here, we're going to lower the crosshead back down to within maybe a ½ inch, ¼ inch, right there. All right, all we do is we start the hydraulics.
Get that out of the way.
And then we slowly turn this release knob here. All the way open. So you can just regulate it with the release valve. You can hold it at a pressure, and you can see on the dial there, we're at 20,000. easily does the 60 and it just wants to keep going. And then you can also see over here this old analog chart recorder. All right, so that was the 60,000 pound range, and then you can select, you can go to the next range, they call it medium high, and that goes to 24,000, so you have a higher resolution there, and then you can actually zero them in. You go to the medium high knob, you turn this knob and you can set the zero, and this is actually turning a spring that puts tension on the bourdon tube in the back. And then in this range, you can see it shoots up much faster. And that's 24,000. So why don't we take a walk around to the back and look at the back of the gauge. So here's where everything's going on here in the back. The bourdon tubes are up here. They're the red, there's 4 of them in a row, 1 for each range. And then when we were adjusting the zeroing, the compensation, it's these gears here, which when you turn, this is a cable, and when that cable spins, it turns that gear right there, it pulls up on that spring, and it actually pulls up on these, they call them valves, and it lets more air through into the bellows down here. And that's for zeroing it, and then its operation is kind of similar where when you start loading it, the pressure comes in the pressure cell in the bottom of the unit. So down here, where this braided line goes into, there's actually a flat disc, and that is I guess they call it the emery cell, and that is, it provides the pressure through the hydraulic line for the gauge. So you can see here's the hydraulic motor down below. The hydraulic pump's back there. So when the press is loaded and then the load cell gets pressurized, that small line, like this copper line, and this whole mess of them here, it goes to the bourdon tubes. The bourdon tubes pull up on that air valve, which provides more or less pressure to the bellows. So it's a compensation system to keep the gauge from bouncing all over the place. So Peter, just go ahead and load it up, and we'll try to watch this move back here. There you go, you can see the bellows moving up and down, and the gauge movement is actually, there's a rack gear back here that's spinning, that's the central axis to the gauge. And then this rod you see moving horizontally is the rod that's moving the chart recorder. So it's just a really neat piece of engineering here. But All this is replaced by a little load cell, an electronic load cell, and little digital panel meter.